Welcome to Sureway English live lectures. Today's topic is select missing word from PTE listening section. In this video you will find detailed explanations of each and every step, proven methods that are known to work, and you will get some very solid practice. So make sure that you watch this video till the very end. And if you have not already done so, don't forget to create your free account on surewayenglish.com and sign up for the free PTE course and many other resources. Let's go to question number 1.
So I'm with Caroline and John in the very grand surroundings of the courtyard of Somerset House. Caroline, why have you brought me here to start off with?
Somerset House is one of my favourite places in Westminster and in the whole of London. It's a very, very important building. And in particular, I wanted to bring you here because we're going to be talking about two guided walks that I do. One of them is on the history of architecture, and one of them is on the history of science. And Somerset House is an important player in...
Alright, so I'll give you a few seconds to finalize your answer choice. Alright, and the correct answer is, first one, in both those stories. So now before we look at the transcript, what the audio was, do you remember the last few words? The last few words were, Somerset House is an important player. Okay, important player. So you can be a player in something, yeah. So it could be in both those stories, in Westminster, in the history. Now let's look at the transcript so we understand, what it was. So the second last sentence, one of them is on the history of architecture and one of them is on the history of science. Alright, and they're talking about these two guided walks and say that one of them is on the history of architecture and one of them is on history of science, and that Somerset House is an important player in both these walks. Okay, so which word is can be which of the choice is most closely similar to that? So it is number 1 in both those stories. So both those guided walks, those tours, or both those stories. So that's why we go with option number 1, right? Please now pause the video. Make sure that you correctly understand what the passage was, and if you didn't pick the right answer, spend some time understanding, what mistake you made. Okay, why that option was wrong and why option number 1 is correct. After that, go to question number 2. Here it is.
Only a small percentage of the nation's college students attend for-profit schools, but those students are responsible for about half of all the student loan defaults in the U.S. Soon, those colleges will face a strict new regulation, and some education experts are using words like collapse and implosion to describe the...
All right, a few seconds to help you finalize your answer choice. Okay, the correct answer is option number 1, state of the industry. Okay, the last few words, if you remember, they were that some experts, they're using words like a collapse to describe. So, collapse is a negative word. So, to describe what? Usually, it would be the collapse of an institution or the collapse of an industry, means the downfall. So, that's why we go with option number 1. The transcript, this is what it is. So, it's saying that only a small percentage of nation's college students attend for-profit schools, but they are responsible for about half of all the student loan defaults in the US. And then these colleges will face a strict new regulation, and that's what they're saying, that but that's what they mean by industry. So education industry, or these colleges, that the words like collapse are used to describe the state of these colleges or state of the education industry. So That's what we'll go with, option number one. Option number two, it's it's very similar to option number one, but it's about quality of the industry. So collapse, etc. That describes the state. If it was quality, it's in the outcome or the results. Then you would say that the quality is going down. All right. Let's go to question number three now.
Hi, everybody. 5 years ago, after the worst financial crisis in decades, we passed historic Wall Street reform to end the era of bailouts and too big to fail. As part of that reform, we created an independent Consumer Financial Protection Bureau with one mission: to protect American consumers from some of the worst practices in the financial industry. They've already put $5 billion back in the pockets of more than 15 million families. And this week, they took an important first step toward cracking down on some of the most abusive practices involving payday loans. Millions of Americans take out these loans every year. In Alabama, where I visited this week, there are 4 times as many payday lending stores as there are McDonald's. But while payday loans might seem like easy money, folks often end up trapped in a cycle of debt. If you take out a $500 loan, it's easy to wind up paying more than $1,000.
All right. Few seconds to finalize your answer choice. All right. The correct option is option number four, in interest and fees. Okay. So in the speech, and as you would have also noticed by looking at the topic, it's about a financial issue. So it's going to be about money, about some financial crisis, some problem. And the last few words, they were that if you take out, let's say, a $500 loan, it's easy to end up paying more than 1,000. So in what? More than 1,000 in, related to loan. Which of these words can you say are related to loan? So option number four, because it has got interest and fees. So if you take out a $500 loan, you can end up paying $1,000 in interest and fees. So that's why we go with option number four. And this is what the transcript was. And if you, so, when you start listening, so keep in your mind, try to focus on what the theme is. Try to get an understanding of that. So you'll understand that they start talking about loans and banks, etc., etc. And take some notes also. Try to take some notes, especially towards the end, what they are trying to say. Um, in the exam, when the audio starts, you'll see that progress bar, so you'll know how many seconds to go before the audio ends. So as soon as it's like a few seconds away, make sure that you memorize or remember the last few words, because that's what you will be the most critical in deciding which option you pick. So in this case, if you take out a $500 loan, it is easy to wind up paying more than. So if you just remember that loan and end up paying or wind up paying. So when you take a loan, you pay interest and fees. So that's why it becomes the logical option, option number four. The other thing is, don't just look for the words, just say interest and fees. Let's say there was another option, which was option number three. Let's say it was buy interest and fees. Okay, then you know that comparing between buy interest and fees and in interest and fees, that in interest and fees, that's grammatically correct. So that's why you go with it. So also look out for grammatical mistakes. So sometimes they might want to confuse you by two similar logical options having similar words, but one of them will be grammatically correct and not the other. Okay, so keep all of that in mind. And your correct answer was option number four. Please pause the video if you need more time to review this and understand this. So with that, we come to the end of this lecture. Don't forget to sign up for a free course on sureway english.com. All the best.